I'm ZZ. That's Millie and Swayze.
Millie and Swayze. And I'm Maddie.
And so today our podcast episode is going to be about do's and don'ts of your freshman year. So with that being said, if you didn't listen to our podcast a few weeks ago or a month ago, we are both juniors here at Ole Miss, going to be seniors. And I mean, yeah, we're going to be HRCs for this next recruitment season. So
yeah, that's a little bit about us. It's been a long time since we were freshmen, but I definitely would say that we also called a couple of our friends before we started this to get their input on the do's and don'ts that you should be doing your freshman year. And there are a lot of things that we both did that we definitely recommend. There's also a lot of things that we both did that we wouldn't recommend.
Yeah.
So that's what we're here to talk to you about now. If you're an incoming freshman, or this could really...
Or a transfer.
Yeah, or a transfer. This could apply to anybody if you're going into a new situation. These are just things that you can apply. So my freshman year, I stayed in Pittman, which was part of the Honors College dorm situation. And that is what's known as a contemporary dorm. So I had my own bathroom. And I know that you stayed in RH2.
I stayed in RH2, which is relatively close to where you were or where you lived.
Yeah.
And that was also a contemporary dorm setup. So the bathrooms are in the dorm room.
Yeah. And so our first do, I would say, I would definitely recommend getting your own bathroom if it's at all possible. I've heard from a couple of my friends that the dorms that had the shared bathroom are just not as nice.
Like Crosby, Martin.
And they're a lot better for different situations. Like apparently it's a really good way to make friends because you're all having to share the same space. We wouldn't know because we didn't have that situation our freshman year. But I will say that it was really nice to have my own bathroom.
Because I wouldn't have to, if I needed to go to the bathroom at middle of the night, just comfort of just getting up out of my bed and there it is.
Yeah. So that was really nice. If that is a possibility for you, we would definitely recommend it. And it's not the end of the world if you don't get that. I know a lot of people who loved their living situations in Crosby and Martin. I just know that cleanliness-wise, it's a lot better if you have your own bathroom because that's something that you can control.
You can control that, yeah.
So
that's our first do.
Yeah, so I guess if we're going to start with that do, let's just start with all of them. And our first recommended do is something that I didn't do my freshman year.
Neither.
And that is to get plugged in, whether that be with a church, if that's your thing, or your sorority, or a club for your major or your hobby, whatever that may be. Get plugged in. It's the easiest way to make friends. It's the easiest way to just have people. You'll meet people that are in your major, even if you're in something like a walking club, which is something that Ole Miss offers now. It's the best way to just find people that have the same interests as you and you can be friends with and you can talk about your classes with and all that kind of stuff. So definitely get plugged in, and that's something I regret not doing my freshman year.
Yeah, I would. To bounce off that, I totally agree. I was not very plugged in with everything that Ole Miss has to offer. I was very plugged in my freshman year through our sorority. And honestly, a recommendation, if you are in a sorority, go to the house to eat. That is where you will meet so many people, whether you remember their names or not.
Yeah.
You will meet so many people. Just say, hey, can I come sit with y'all for lunch or dinner? And everyone will welcome you with open arms. Like they're all in the same situation as you.
Yeah. And freshman year is a really scary time. You're away from your parents, you're away from your siblings, you're away from all the friends that you grew up with. It's hard to adjust and really make this time in your life enjoyable if you're worried about things like making friends, which is something that a lot of freshmen worry about, or transfers, or wherever you're at in your life, in your college journey. It's a thing that everybody kind of worries about. So getting plugged into groups and stuff is the easiest way to be able to make friends, hands down. Especially if you're not super outgoing. Like, you're very outgoing. I'm not. So the only way that I was going to make friends was if I went out of my comfort zone, and I put myself in situations where I could make friends and I not have to go up to like random people.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're all in the same club, we all have the same interests. Let's be friends. Um,
Going off of the get plugged in, the next one would be say yes
yes.
and talk to your talk to your roommate. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you were paired up with someone random, get to know that person. They're still a person. They're still human. Honestly, get to know who they are, and they might bring their friends over. Just talk to them. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's no harm in talking to someone that you've never met before.
Yeah.
So saying yes, like if your roommate is like, "Hey, do you want to come out to go eat at El Agave?" Yes, there's
Yeah.
no harm in doing that.
Yeah. And the most harm that can come from that is you realize that that person's not somebody you want to be friends with.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just saved yourself time at the end of the day,
Yeah,
trying instead of trying to beat around the bush or try to decide whether you want to be friends with that person or not. Say yes to lunch. Put yourself out there. Always, if if a situation arises where you're like, well, should I just say yes? Unless it's going to put you in like a
yeah.
dangerous,
Then don't say
if it's going to put you in danger, obviously
no.
go with your gut and be like, no, maybe that's not the best idea. Like driving out to Sardis Lake at 3 a.m. because some random like person asked you to in your
And that's a
hallway.
big no.
Maybe don't do that unless you have some past experiences with that person. But like for the most part, just say yes, put yourself out there and allow yourself to be uncomfortable. Allow yourself to be in situations that make you uncomfortable socially.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have social anxiety or something, just allow yourself to be uncomfortable in those situations because
Max is like an hour. You're going to
yeah,
be uncomfortable for an hour, and then you're going to look back on that and be like, oh,
I'm
okay.
so glad I did that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of situations, and I think you can agree that I was like, I don't want to do this. And
Oh,
then I
but I
went in
made her.
and I
Yep.
made myself do it. And then I was like, you know what? I actually had a lot of fun. And I have a lot of fun memories from things that I would have said no to if I wouldn't have allowed myself to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So say yes, be uncomfortable, and allow that to drive.
Say yes to the dress.
Yes, allow that to drive you.
Next one we said get to know your professors.
Yeah.
And I know freshman year they're kind of just your gen ed classes that you just have to get out of the way before you get into your like big major classes.
Mm-hmm.
But the professors are there to help you. And I could tell like for the first week, which is called syllabus week, they tell the class a little bit about themselves. And if you like after class hang out and be like, "Hey, I'm so and so and I can't wait to learn more about your class." The professors might enjoy that because I don't think they hear that often.
Yeah.
I think every college kid is just like, "Okay, when's class over? Like, are we done yet?"
Yeah. Definitely get to know your professors because there's also a good chance that you could end up seeing them later on. You might
Mm-hmm.
need a recommendation letter or you might be in their class later in the future. So, especially freshman year, get to know your professors because there's a chance you'll come across them again. And if they know your face and you know their face, then
They
that
might
just
help you
makes,
out a little
yeah,
bit
they
if
might
you're
help you
struggling
out.
with a B and you want an A.
I
You
mean,
know,
yeah. And if they know you as a person who's going to work hard
yeah.
and has done your best and your best is getting you a B, then some professors will be like, you know what? I know you're trying your
Mm-hmm.
hardest and I
Like I
know
could
that you're
see that you're
putting in
trying.
effort. You're coming to my office hours. I see that you're trying. They may or may not push your grade a little bit,
Just a little.
but you can definitely always go to them and be like, what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of classwork, outside of tests, outside of studying, you can see that I'm putting in my best effort. What can I do to get an A in your class? And professors are people too, and they're scary, and it
Yeah.
seems like they don't want to help you, but
They
they
might be
do.
doctors, have their doctorate. That's
Yeah,
kind of scary.
but all they love teaching and they just want to be able to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
So get to know your professors. That's something I definitely didn't do freshman year, and I have seen a couple of professors come by and I'm like,
Yeah, I've
or like
seen.
I need a recommendation letter and I'm like, shoot, I don't know anybody to get it from.
That I had so I took bio my freshman year, and then the next year I took bio again with the same professor because I was like, I actually like I spent time talking to her during her office hours. I went there to make up a few tests, and I showed up the second time I saw her again. That was in her class. She was like, "Hey, how are you?" I was like, "Doing great because now you know my face." Like,
Yeah.
that was, yeah. So the next thing is be independent.
Yeah. Don't this goes back off of the allow yourself to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
If you want coffee and you don't know who to go get coffee with, just go get coffee on your own.
Now that's a big one because I don't like to do things by myself. I
Yeah.
always invite Maddie or whoever. I'm like, "Will you go with me to go get lunch at the house?" Because I
Yeah.
just don't want to be alone.
Yeah. But I mean,
It's your
sometimes
first time away from your hometown friends,
mhm.
maybe your family, your
Mhm.
siblings, whatever. Um, you're on your own, kid.
You always have to.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're not
Sorry.
Swifties. I don't know where that came from.
Do things on your own.
Yeah.
I did a lot of things on my own my freshman year, and I have met so many people that I'm like, okay, like we're still friends, and it's my junior year now.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I mean, doing things on your own is really scary.
we're not going to
It's
sugarcoat it. It
no,
is
it
scary.
is a scary thing. You're not going to enjoy it initially, but sometimes, like, if your roommate's bothering you and you just want to be alone, you can't be alone in your dorm room. A
Mm-mm.
lot of the time, you're going to have somebody in your dorm room, whether that's just your roommate or your roommate and their friends or your roommate and their boyfriend or your roommate and whatever, or just sometimes random people will be in your dorm. Like,
Yeah.
that does happen. And so allowing yourself to do things on your own will give you that me time that you sometimes you need. If you're stressed out and you're studying and you're like, "Dang, I really want to go get coffee, but I don't want to go alone." Just go get coffee alone. You might have more fun that way. You might just need that alone time. Sometimes it's okay to do things when you're not with somebody else.
Yeah. Um, Also, talking about me time, I know that I think a majority of the dorms have, like, if you have this big exam the next day and your roommates or your roommate is just doing whatever in the dorm and you just need your own time. I know that they have different, like, study spots
Yeah.
on each floor of the dorm room.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there were some times where I had an exam and my roommate had an exam as well, but we like to chit chat, so we
yeah.
couldn't be in the same room as each other.
And like, you can't talk to
And
me or I'm just going to keep talking.
yeah,
Yeah.
and my dorm floor study room was full of whoever was also taking an exam the next day. And so I would just move up a floor or move down a floor or I'd
Yeah.
go to the
They'll
first
never
floor. Like
know.
you just bounce around and there's a lot of different spaces and opportunities. And then also going to the library. Like
I love the
go to
library.
the library to study.
And there are different floors to the library. So first
Yeah.
floor you can talk at how
At
we're
least at Ole
talking.
Miss there is. Yeah.
Second floor is a whisper. Some people don't know how to whisper though.
Mm-mm.
And then third floor is absolutely no chit chatting, no talking.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different spaces. I feel like this is the same for most libraries at most universities. There's a lot of different spaces for you to be able to study and you to get away from the noise
The
and the
chaos, yeah.
distractions and the chaos. So utilize those opportunities when you need it. Don't be afraid to tell somebody, like, as much as you want to say yes, don't be afraid to tell somebody no as well, if that's something that you need. But we'll get to don'ts in a second. Oh, but basically, the overall gist of do is just try new things.
Mm-hmm.
Be
Be your
allow
own
yourself
person.
to
You
be your
don't
own
need to
person.
change. Well,
Yeah,
those are don'ts, but you don't need to change to hope that someone that you just met likes you.
that's a good one. That one wasn't on the list. Yeah, don't change for anybody. Be who
You
you are.
are your own person.
Yeah.
It's on the commandment. Okay, now to don'ts.
Yeah.
Don't skip class. That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Please don't skip class.
No, it really only gets harder from your freshman year. And if you can lock in an A or a B for all of your general education requirements, sorry,
Millie.
leave her alone. Millie. Anyways, if you can lock in an A or a B for all of your general
That will
education
help your
requirements,
GPA out.
that
Yeah.
helps your GPA out so much. That is something that I did do freshman year. Is
You what?
I tried really hard
yeah.
and I didn't skip class.
See, that's the opposite of me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is gonna be so easy, and skipped class left and right, and then college algebra hit me hard. And I'm not saying that I skipped class, but the classes only get harder depending on your major. Um, also talking about don't skip class, don't scan in and then leave,
Yeah,
especially if it's a small class. So your professor's obviously gonna
they're gonna
notice.
notice. Don't do that.
Don't scan in and leave.
That's
That's just
embarrassing because if you get called out on it, that's so
it's
embarrassing.
like the teacher sees you the very next Wednesday or Thursday. You skipped class, but you scanned in. What's up with that?
Yeah. Is something going on? It's always the most embarrassing when you do skip class and then your teacher's like, "Hey, just checking in on you.
My
Is
teacher did
something going
that.
on?" And I'm like, "No, I
I'm
just don't
like,
want to be there."
no, my teacher, I sent my professor an email. I was like, hey, like X, Y, and Z, something, blah, 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 blah. And then the very next class, she says, hey, Zizi, I saw your email. Is everything okay? I'm like, why now? Why in
Yeah.
class? Like, she was talking and then she saw me and she's like, hey, is everything? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, in front of everybody.
Oh, yeah. And I'm like, that's enough.
That's so embarrassing. So don't be afraid to reach out to your professors, but also just don't skip class.
Yeah. No.
These classes are your GPA boosters because it really does only get harder from the beginning. No matter what your major is, no matter how hard or how easy it is, it gets harder, and there's no doubt about that. So,
because I think, cool, tell me if this is wrong, but don't you have to get for like your bigger classes, you have to get a minimum of a C?
yeah,
To
if
then,
it's required for
yeah,
your major,
yeah.
you have to get a minimum of a C.
So
So, also, Ole Miss does something called freshman forgiveness.
yes,
Don't use them all your freshman year.
I think you get one. Right?
You get two.
Okay.
And you get two exclusions as well. Don't use them your freshman year. Use them for your harder classes. So
Like I
try
used it
really,
for my
really hard
college
your freshman
algebra.
year. Yeah. I'm using it for organic chemistry too. So
Yeah.
like it's okay to not pass a class. Don't let that deter you and don't let that like wear you down. But try your very, very, very best. Especially okay, you guys. That's enough. Try your best to do your best.
Okay. Sorry. Do you want to do this one then?
Yeah.
Don't get bogged down about your friend groups.
Yeah. Your friend group's freshman year will change every single year that you're in college. The friends that I have now, the friend group that I had freshman year is not the same friend group I had sophomore year, is not the same friend group I have this year. Your friends change, your life changes. It's okay to not be friends with the same people you were freshman year.
However, with that being said, just be kind to everyone. Like you might run into these
Mm-hmm.
people and you don't want to be talking bad about one of them and see them the very next day. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna see them again.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
this is not
if
that big.
there are moments freshman year, like even going between your first semester freshman year to your second semester, your friends are not the same, and that's okay. And don't get too tied up with wondering why they're not the
Or
same,
drama.
or
Yeah.
get tied up in any drama as to why you're not friends with the same people. College is so much bigger than high school. So it's okay to not have the same friend group your freshman year as you do your senior year.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have friends that follow you throughout. I have friends from freshman year that I'm still friends with to this day.
It's not me.
But the friends that I had first semester freshman year, I don't really talk to anymore because our lives just went in a different direction.
Yeah,
So,
everyone's lives are changing
yeah.
up like after freshman year. You're not in the dorm, you're in an
Yeah.
apartment
And it's harder once you get into the harder classes, it's harder to make time to intentionally go and hang out with your friends. And that's why it's important if your friends are through a club or if your friends are through a sorority, use that time to hang out with your friends. Go to lunch in the house or go to the club meetings and sit with them and talk to them. Intentionally use your time when you get past freshman year.
I guess that brings us to the next one.
Yeah.
Don't hide in your room.
Yeah.
I can't really speak on that because I don't think I hid in my room my freshman year. But just don't. It's not good for your brain.
Mm-mm.
It's not. You need people interaction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, don't hide in your room. Even if you have a big test, Go and
Take a
study.
study break, you
Yeah,
know?
take a study break. Or if you're on a campus that has, like, almost has the Grove, and we have picnic tables in the Grove, and there are people studying out there all the time.
When the weather
When, yeah,
permits.
when the weather permits. But use those opportunities as well. So go outside, get some fresh air. Don't just hide in your room because you're only shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
And it's not good for your mental health. And this is a very lonely time for some.
Mm-hmm.
So don't don't hide away in your room.
Also, with that being said about studying, like you might have a big exam. One of our friends, or one of my friends that I just called, he was like, I was studying, but now I'm walking on
Mm-hmm.
the rail trail, Whirlpool Trail, right next to South Rec, because he
Mm-hmm.
just needed air. And I was like, wow. Like
Yeah.
you know more about yourself than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel like you know this material or that you are just getting stressed out, take a
Mm-hmm.
break. It's a
Yeah.
break is not going to kill you.
Yeah. Don't procrastinate your studying either.
Mm-mm.
So don't, what's it called? Cramming. Don't cram. Cramming is something I do for every single exam
And
because I procrastinate. Don't be like me. Don't procrastinate. Definitely do start studying ahead of time. Whether you need a day or two or a week or two, that's up to you because you know yourself
mm-hmm.
best. But don't wait until the very last minute because there's only so much information your brain can hold before you just stop learning everything. So don't procrastinate studying or homework or whatever.
because it's going to catch up to you.
It
Yeah.
does. And don't say yes so much that
That you
your
lose time
schoolwork,
on
yes,
spending time with school. Yeah.
yeah. So be able to say no to things like if your friends want to go out and do whatever, and you know you have a big exam in a couple days and you need that time to study, say no. And it'll suck in the moment, but when you see your grade on the exam, it'll feel so much better than if you were to go out and fail the exam.
Also, if your big group of friends are going out to go get dinner or something and you have that exam and then your friends are just like, well, come on, like it's not gonna take like true friends know when you have to put time away from hanging with your friends versus a big exam.
Yeah.
Like true friends will understand that.
Yeah, don't let your friends peer pressure you into doing anything that whether it's you don't have time for or you just genuinely don't want to do. Don't let your friends peer pressure
Yeah.
you because then they are not your real friends.
But Maddie peer pressures me all the time.
To go to the gym. She will peer pressure me and she's like, go to the gym, Maddie, please just take a break and go to the gym. And that's
we
something.
went on a walk.
Yeah.
I made her go to the gym. We just did like a lap or two around South Rec upstairs.
Yeah.
I was like, we just have to go. Like, it's
Yeah.
good for the brain.
Yeah, and there are things like that where it's like, okay.
It takes like what? It took 15 minutes?
Yeah.
15 minutes out of your day from either bed rotting or studying for exam.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt.
Yeah. So let them peer pressure you sometimes.
But not
all the time.
I don't constantly ask Maddie to like go to the gym every day.
No. And it's also just like your real friends know when you need to go get out of the house and when your mental health needs to be away from bed rotting and away from schoolwork and your brain needs a break. Real friends know that. So get yourself friends that check up on you and who really care about you. And don't get too tied up with the friends who are the most popular or the most fun or whatever. Find yourself real, true friends and let them take you all the way until graduation.
That was good.
Thank you. That came off the dome.
Well, I think this concludes the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, also about the do get plugged in. I know that if churches are your thing, there's so many in Oxford that you can get plugged in with. I know a big one here is Pine Lake, and they did a little Galentine's because it was Valentine's a few days ago, but they did cute little Galentine's and whatnot. So just get plugged in.
Yeah, but don't overschedule.
That is a good one.
Don't overschedule
Don't look at your
yourself.
schedule and be like, oh my gosh, like I have so much stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you need to think, prioritize
Mm-hmm.
what's the most important and what can I wait till next week.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, definitely you know yourself best and you know how
Mhm.
much you can handle. If you can handle a crowded, packed schedule, do it. If you can't, I can't. I know I can't. So I don't.
Yeah.
I do what I have to do and I leave the rest of time for me because I personally like to have a lot of free time
Yeah.
that I get to do what I want and I can do things like laundry or cleaning and all that in that free time that I have. So, you know yourself best. Just don't get too worried about college either. It's fun. It's a fun time. You're meant to have fun. You're meant to.
It's your first taste of freedom. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you're going to have fun.
You're
Maybe
gonna do things that you wish you didn't do.
And that's why we're here.
Yeah. You're gonna miss out on things that you wish that you did do. But overall, just have an experience where you can look back and be like, I had fun. That was the best time of my life. So those are the do's and don'ts of freshman year.
We really hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe if your heart desires.
Like and subscribe. Anyways.
Okay.
Well, have a good day.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.